Hello everyone, welcome to Seeking Legends. I am your host, Cryptid Hunter. In this podcast you will find a variety of stories ranging from the supernatural, unexplained, unsolved, urban legends, and everything else in between. I hope you like and share with your friends. And if you enjoy this podcast, please consider leaving a review so others can also find us. And if you would like to share your own experience with the rest of us, please visit my website at seekinglegends.com and shoot me an email. Maybe your story can be featured on the show. You can always remain anonymous. A few weeks ago, I received a story that managed to send shivers down my spine when I first read it. This encounter is reportedly true and happened to a shaman who I recently met online through my YouTube videos. But before I begin, I would like to thank Sharon Ingram for sending me her story. The following is only one of her many true encounters with a Dogman. The story you're about to read is true. I am my tribe's shaman, medicine woman for the Seminole tribe of Southwest Georgia. I've been trained since the age of 6 to help heal and to help rid of evil spirits. Dogmen have been around for centuries, and my tribe knows and teaches the little ones of evil so that they too can protect their loved ones when we are gone. Believe it or not, that's your choice. I know the truth. The new case. Sitting on your porch drinking coffee and observing the night sky should be relaxing. But from my last case, I know he's out there, waiting. I hear growls, howls, some nights as if it's aggravated not being able to come closer since I perform a ritual and ban him from entering my property. My elder advised me to do it often for the rest of my life. Being born with blue eyes and a full-blooded Seminole Native American marked me for becoming a shaman and fighter against the supernatural for my people. This next case took a total turn. A family called saying that something was killing their animals, rabbits, even their dogs. They would hear howling and see shadows running through their woods at nights. It would scratch at their doors, even smash through a window in their laundry room. When they described the creature, I knew. 6 to 8 feet tall, brownish black, glowing eyes, and walked on 2 legs. So after my last sip of coffee, I mumbled, "Round 2. I packed my supplies and thought, or hell, I knew, it was waiting me to come. Their home sits by the Flint River, is quiet and serene. Only noise I heard was the rushing of the water as it flowed. The owner met me outside and relayed all that had occurred. I asked if they could go somewhere that night, less I would have to worry about. They left and was going to stay with their family. They took their last remaining dogs and rabbits with them. I set up my supplies in an old stump in their yard and grabbed my ritual powder and ritual bow knife and started at the water's edge ceiling for protection. Then I heard it. A howl so loud and furious that chills ran down my spine. He was behind me in the woods on the other side of the property. I froze for a minute, then continued my ritual up the property line towards him. Have you ever smelled tires burning? That is the smell that hit me. And that's the sign of a Dogman. A lot of people don't know that. I was easing up the line, sprinkling my powder, repeating my ritual spell casting, and I heard a large limb break, a loud snap. I slowly raised up to my full height of 5'6" and heard like a dog panting, like he had ran a mile non-stop. When I turned my head towards the sound, I looked directly into his eyes. They were golden. He stood anywhere from 7'5" to 8 foot. Blackish, brown fur, and built like Andre the Giant, the wrestler. His arms were massive. The ears were like a German shepherd's. The claws in his left paw had to be at least 4 inches long. And yes, I did. I mumbled, "Oh shit." Why couldn't I have the luck to fight a young one, or a female? Oh no, I had to hit the mother lode. My adrenaline was pumping. I hollered in native tongue a ritual warning. His eyes squinted and his ears laid back, and he let out a roar towards me ferociously. I almost felt the wind from it. We were about 25 feet apart, and I realized I had my hand on my ritual knife and grasped it really hard. I was ready. It gazed and stared with such hatred, and I gave him the same look back. I easily and slowly grabbed a handful of powder and waited for his move. He just stood there. I started sprinkling the powder and started repeating the ritual, never taking my eyes off of it. All of a sudden, he lunged towards me to the line of powder. My reflexes kicked in and I slung the powder towards his face. It hit right side of his head, his face, and one eye. It yelped and hit the ground and started rolling around. It rolled once and it looked like smoke was coming from the area of his eye. I grabbed some more and slung it over and over, trying to get as much as I could on him. It kept hollering and I finally rushed to finish the property line. I kept checking to make sure it wasn't coming from me, but it had either crawled or ran back into the darkness from the security light that brightened the backyard. I would hear yelps, snorts, limbs breaking, but I completed my work and eased back to the stump. Then there was quietness. I sat on the front stoop for a while, seeing if anything might occur. It was all quiet, and I prayed it was gone. Finally, I heard an owl hoot and a whippoorwill singing. That's just a good sign. I finally left tired, strained, and just numb. Sometimes on cases, I'll feel that way but just shake it off. I called my elder and gave him all the facts. The next morning, I called the owner who had returned back home and gave him all the information and things he still needed to do to complete and seal for protection. This is a ritual only homeowner can do. As of 2 days ago, they're still okay. I sit out on my porch thinking if people saw what I see, then they would believe me. Nowadays, electronics in the new age bypasses the old real ways of Mother Earth and what people call the paranormal. It's real. It's dangerous and it can happen to you. Don't think for 1 second that it can't. While I wait for another case, I sit on my porch, drink my beverage, and listen to long growls and snorts coming from across the dirt road in the woods, in the darkness. Okay, here's my paranormal story. When I was 13, my mom and her husband at the time had purchased a 40-acre lot in the middle of the sticks in my hometown. To get to the house, it ran off the main road down a rather long gravel-covered driveway. It was an old farm-style looking home that had clearly been built back in the day, and mind you, built in a place of the original structure. But I'll get to that part in a moment. One night around 11:30 p.m.ish, I stayed up late as a kid because I enjoy reading a lot. I finally became tired with the book I was reading and decided it was time to catch some sleep. I noticed that my room became very cold, but I thought nothing of it. I grabbed another blanket and tossed it over my head. Now here's where things get interesting. I reached over to turn off the light on my nightstand, and at that moment I turned off the light, everything went suddenly in slow motion. And that's when I heard someone in my room. And over in the corner of my room was a man. He looked terrified. He was covered in blood and looked like he had been burned badly, and I mean bad. Myself, clearly wide awake and freaking out, I put my hands over the front of me and said, "It's okay, I won't scream. I'm just going to reach over and turn my light on so I can help you, okay?" The man at this point retreated even further in my room and proceeded to hunch down in a fetal position and started sobbing uncontrollably. My reaction was fast at this point. I jumped out of my bed and slapped on the light and screamed for help, only to see nothing, and the temperature in the room was suddenly warm again. Of course, moments later I had two pissed off parents looking down on me wondering why I was screaming my head off in the middle of the night. It turns out that the history of the house was built back in the 1940s and was originally an old train stop for a logging company. Apparently, the company went out of business after an accident burned down the original structure. 5 men, 1 woman, and 1 child lost their lives. A new owner then bought the property and rebuilt on the spot where the new home sits now. Both the woman and child have been seen wandering the property not only by me but by my brother and friends who have visited. I'll definitely never forget that life experience.